happy to be joined now by Japanese journalist Tomoya Shimura. Tomoya, thanks so much for your time. I guess the big headline right off the bat is the new contract by Juan Soto, eclipsing that of Shohei Ohtani. What did you make of that when you saw that $765 million?
I'll be brutally honest here. I don't think it was the best decision that the Mets could have made. I thought it would, clearly Otani value exceeds that of Soto, and I don't know if it was the ego thing. I heard story rumors that it took a while for this deal to come together, and maybe it was Soto's ego coming out. I'm not sure, but I don't think it was the best deal that Steve Cohen made, and let's see how it plays out. I think his contract ends when he's 41. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think he's going to be playing outfield when he's 41, so he'll probably DHing for 5 years or so.
I have to think though the Shohei Ohtani deal is better across the board because A, he deferred so much money, and B, it's 10 years and he's still really young. And if you take away him pitching, he becomes even more of a valuable player.
Definitely. I mean, and from a team standpoint, it's not even comparable. I mean, Dodgers got the best deal out of him.
Yeah.
I think the team has already made probably triple of the amount of money that that they're going to spend on Otani. So it's I mean, I think the Mets will end up losing money, by signing this contract with Soto.
Let's talk about Shohei Ohtani, which is why we have you on with us today. And again, thank you for your time. Tomoya, what do you make of Shohei Ohtani mania, and what's it like back in Japan? I mean, are people staying up till midnight, late in the early mornings just to see him play?
Well, it's Shohei Ohtani is almost like a godlike figure in Japan now. So he is. When I try to explain to Americans, he is like the president of the United States, probably like Donald Trump's, recognition plus Taylor Swift's pop vibe or popularity,
With Michael
and
Jordan's athletic ability.
with Michael Jordan's, athletic ability, correct. And, he probably has close to 100% recognition rate in
Yeah.
Japan. People wake up early to watch his games, and it's across the age group, different age groups, from kids to even like 100-year-old, grandparents,
Right.
seniors. They all knew Otani, and especially the older age group in Japan, they follow his every move because they watch a lot of TV. People in their 60s, 70s. My mother-in-law, for example, she's in her 70s, and she watches a lot of TV at home, and she Utani is constantly on TV from morning news to I don't know, gossip shows during the day, and then in the evening news. Even the days he's not even playing games, he's still on TV and commercials. So he's everywhere in Japan.
He obviously is the most valuable player. The Dodgers getting him was huge. Again, remind our fans that aren't American baseball players. He originally went to Anaheim Angels, which is just 45 minutes down the road, closer to where you live in Irvine, California. And now he's with the Dodgers. And this year in the World Series, you couldn't think of a better matchup. This is the dream matchup. This is the Dodgers versus the Yankee. This is New York versus LA. This is East Coast versus West Coast. And talk about the amount of stars, not only on the Yankees team with Judge and Soto, but the Dodgers team is absolutely loaded with Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, and of course Shohei Ohtani.
Yes, I mean, when I saw the World Series matchup, the Yankees, the Dodgers, it couldn't have been better for baseball. I mean, and it happened on this first year that Shohei Ohtani was on the Dodgers, and he, accomplished 50-50. I mean, it's a dream scenario for baseball. I mean, baseball fans, and then obviously for MLB. I, I mean, it couldn't be better for business. It couldn't be better for fan experience. And I have a feeling that this could, revitalize the popularity of baseball in this country, in the United States.
If it revitalizes the popular baseball in the United States, at what cost though? Is this going to create a drain on Japanese baseball with all the players? Because there's already been a couple other pitchers that have come over as well. There's more talent in Japan that's coming over. Is this going to hurt Japanese baseball because it is hugely popular?
I think it's not going to hurt baseball in Japan, but I think it's going to hurt Nippon Professional Baseball, which is the equivalent of MLB, because they're starting to lose all their best players, even from an early age. Because Roki Sasaki, who Dodgers might land, he's only 23, I think, and and he's going to come over to the US. So it's not good for the league, but for baseball in Japan, I think it's a good thing because now people are paying a lot more attention to baseball because people consider playing in the United States as the as the highest achievement, and there are a lot of Japanese players who are actually succeeding here. Yamamoto, Otani, and Roki is going to be a huge. It's going to be a lot. Going to be popular here. So people are paying a lot more attention to baseball thanks to Otani, and young kids are gonna want to be Otani. So and they're gonna want to play baseball. So and baseball in Japan was also seen as kind of the middle aged men's sport, but now it's considered a little more pop, and people are wearing major league caps. So I think it's good for baseball in general. I don't know how that's gonna how the league's popularity is going to be affected by it. But I think in the long run, I think it's great for the sport.
Staying with the economics of baseball in the Nippon League, I've had the chance to be in Japan a few times. It's a wonderful place. Baseball, though, is the fans are rabid, and I think this whole thing got started. I would say going back to Ichiro. I mean, Ichiro was really the first big name Japanese player that came over and was so popular with the Seattle Mariners. Had a great career. Was that just created a pipeline? I mean, did Shohei Ohtani talk with Ichiro's people? Did he get a feeling what he was going to be like when he came over?
Yes, Ichiro did open the gate for Japanese position players, like Otani. Obviously, there was Hideo Nomo with the Dodgers.
Yeah,
He's considered to be the one pioneer of Japanese players playing in the United States, and he was incredibly popular in Japan. But Ichiro, he was already considered the best. There was no doubt that he was the best player in Japanese league, and
yeah.
he came to the U.S. and won MVP the first year. So that definitely, helped people pay a lot of attention to baseball in America. And yes, when Otani came over to the U.S., from what I know, so when Otani first struggled in spring during spring training,
Right.
and people thought he should start in minor leagues, I, Otani called Ichiro and asked for his advice. And Otani is someone who don't usually seek people's advice. He repeats that all the time. He says, "I don't ask for people for advice," but that was kind of the exception. And he went to Ichiro and asked for his advice, and he said that helped him. And he grew up idolizing players like Ichiro, and then
Yeah.
Darvish. Well, I
You
think it's
Darvish?
Matsui. Yes, Darvish, but Matsui, Hideki Matsui, who played for the Yankees. So they were his idols, and then so yeah, and then he was, I think he's appreciative of them creating a path for players like Otani, and I think Otani at this point, it's safe to say he surpassed those players.
I got to ask you this, and when Shohei came over, it was so impressive because I saw a 60 Minutes piece on him in Japan, and he was really known for his pitching. People were like, "This guy can pitch. He is going to be rock solid." The Angels tried it with him. Do you think we've seen the end of him pitching? Will the Dodgers risk him putting him on the mound, or is he a straight hitter now?
I'm pretty sure the Dodgers will want him to pitch. That's why they gave him the $700 million contract. And Dave Roberts said Otani's not going to pitch him probably in the opening series in Tokyo. Unfortunate for Japanese fans, but my guess is they're going to limit his pitch count, but they're seeing him as a valuable asset, especially in the postseason as a pitcher. So he's probably going to start pitching April, May, maybe, and then hopefully in the postseason. And I don't think its career's over. Having second Tommy John surgery,
Right.
it's we don't know what's going to happen. The only thing that will set Otani back is his health conditions, and we're not exactly sure how he is with his left shoulder surgery and elbows. Obviously the elbow surgery, so
Right.
we don't know where he is. But yes, he's definitely. I think the Dodgers will want him to pitch, and that's why he's so valuable because he is top five in both as a pitcher. He could be he could win Cy Young award
Sure.
in his healthy years. So he could be he's one of the best pitchers and he's also the best hitters. That combination is what makes him sets him apart. And even some people say it's better than Babe Ruth. So I think we're going to see a lot of him pitching.
We're happy to be joined on this Sporting Planet with Japanese journalist Tomoya Shimura. Tomoya, I got to ask you this, and you brought it up, the history. How much does Shohei Ohtani understand the history of American baseball? The Babe Ruths, the Mickey Mantles, the Lou Gehrig's. Is he a student of that, or does he just say, "I just play baseball. I don't care where you're from, Dominican, Puerto Rican, American, Japanese. I just play baseball."
Great question. We reporters sometimes ask him about Babe Ruth, about what he thinks
Yeah,
about Babe Ruth. And to be honest, I don't think Otani knows too much about the history of baseball. Even in Japanese history, baseball in Japan, I think he's more focused on his developing his own game. And I don't think he's tied. I don't think he's, um, I don't think he's trying to see him. You know, I think it's a good thing actually because I don't think it limits him to his precedent. He's
right,
not
right,
bound by precedents. He
right.
is,
Good point.
he's trying to do something. He's always trying to do something. He's constantly said he wants to do something nobody else has done. And I think is more interested in that. Maybe a historical aspect, meaning, he looks at history and say, hey, maybe, this is something nobody's done. So I want to try that, give it a shot. But I don't think he actually studies it but he does pay a lot of respect to the game of baseball. You can see that in, how he plays the game. He loves the sport of it, he just loves being out there. He's always smiling, he's always laughing, and he just enjoys being there. And then he respects players, like Pedro Martinez, Ichiro. He always says he respects how they play. So he's shown a lot of that respect to the game.
I think you bring up a good point there, and a lot of it is his personality, and he's very marketable. He's not a really vocal athlete. I mean, his some of the few advertisements that he's done for like New Balance, he's very quiet, but he's such a likable person, and I think the American population just loves him because how well he plays baseball. But what do you think this World Series meant to his career going forward? I mean, you face off in the biggest, obviously the biggest baseball stage in the world with the Yankees. And the way the Dodgers played and the way they came back, and Freddie Freeman kind of stole the show. But Shohei Ohtani, I mean, he's just always there. He's like a great white shark lurking. You can never count him out. And whenever he steps up the plate, it's must see TV.
Yes, well, this World Series, I mean, I didn't think it was come the first year, to be honest, like, playing against the Yankees, but he's, and accomplishing 50-50 along the way. But I
Yes.
think one thing that kept him, people were always talking about him. Wait, is he the greatest player of all time? But with that conversation always comes, hey, how many rings have you won? And and that was the thing with Otani. He had never played in the playoffs with the Angels. So having that ring gives him that, opens up that conversation of, hey, and I've already seen it. My fellow sports writers are saying he's probably the greatest player of all time, especially if he's able to continue playing two-way for like 2 or 3 more years. And I think is, in that conversation. So I think this World Series win was huge. I think what's left for him is actually creating those moments that that, like Michael Jordan, how he had that 1998 NBA Finals Game 6, the moment of the last shot. I think Otani needs to have that moment to be in that same league with someone like Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods that people remember forever, as part of the history. And that people people in this country, compared to other places, I think even I think people care a lot about postseason, what they do in postseason, especially the championship game. So if Otani can, be a two-way player in the postseason, show what he did in the World Baseball Classic in 2023, when he was, hitting, and then he struck out Mike Trout in the ninth inning. He needs that kind of, I think people are um want that kind of moment for him in the World Series. And he if you're think if there's someone who can do that in that big moment, I think Otani's the one. And yeah.
I'll get you out on this final question. You brought up Mike Trout, one of his teammates when he was with Anaheim, and I think a lot of people thought Mike Trout would be that generational player, maybe the greatest player of all time. Injuries, and in baseball, it takes a toll on your body. You know how long the season is. What is his attitude as far as his longevity, his legacy? Does he want, I want 5 rings, I want a Cy Young, I want MVPs, or is he just about living in the moment? And then when it's done, he is going to step off the big stage, go back to Japan, and live a quiet life and count his Dodger money.
So, Otani definitely wants to win. Well, he told Andrew Friedman after winning the World Series, the Dodgers president, 9 more. He said he wants to win 9 more
Wow.
rings, which is, his contract. That's the rest of his contract. So
Yes.
he wants to win every single year, and I think he knows that to establish his legacy, to maximize that, he needs to continue winning, and then it's just a matter of how many years he can continue his success and is aware of that, I think. But he at the same time, Otani is incredibly good at focusing on the present. He doesn't dwell on the past. He doesn't think about, he rarely talks about, he says he doesn't set his, numbers goals for the season. He's not out there to hit 60, 70 home runs. He said he's going to focus on one game at a time, and and I think he truly means it, and I think that's his mindset, and that's what made him so successful, just focusing on what he can do, but then also have that big vision of, what kind of player he wants to be.
Well, he's an amazing player. Shohei Ohtani, so young, the $700 million man. Japanese journalist Tomoya Shimura, we appreciate your time. We hope we have many more conversations like this. And the Dodgers, I tell you what, they are not sitting back and resting on their laurels with this World Series. They look like they are reloading for 2025.
Yes. Yeah, it's gonna be very, very interesting year, exciting year, I think, for the Dodgers fan people in Los Angeles.
Tomoya, thanks for joining us on this Sporting Planet. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me.